Hello, everybody. This will be my first interview. I'm just going to randomly interview people in the community, and Mucksnapper just so happened to be playing a pub, and I was in a squad, so I figured I would make him the first one. All right, what's up, Mucksnapper?
Hello.
All right, so I'm just going to ask you a bunch of questions, and I don't know how long it's going to take, but you respond however you want. Lengthy, it doesn't matter. Just go off. All right.
Sure.
So when did you start playing HLLs?
I started playing right after COVID started in June of 2020.
And then, what was the first team that you were a part of?
So I actually started Gary's OnlyFans before I was. No. There was a clan called FAM that I joined for like 2 weeks, and then I wanted to start my own thing.
Fam as in family under fire?
It was just FAM was their tag.
I gotcha. There's a team in the thing actually. It's like a called Fam. I didn't know if that might have been the same one or not.
Yeah. It was for like 2 weeks. They were like they actually were literally family though. They knew each other.
Oh, okay. And then you started Gary's OnlyFans right after that?
Yeah. So I started in like August of 2020.
Gotcha. What was the comp scene like then? Or back like then?
So comp scene was like pretty rough because it was still new, and you had kind of core coming up, and like WTH was really good. There wasn't a lot of competitors at the time, so it was like a bunch of teams trying, and then like just two really good teams. And I think 1/16th was pretty decent, but yeah, there was two dominant teams at the time, and they were just mopping the floor with everybody.
Right. Um, so how did you start getting players? Like, who were some of the first members of Gary's OnlyFans?
So, oh, fighting. Hold on, got him. So the first member that actually lasted was Nah. Yeah, literally his name's Nah. He's great. He's still a really good friend of mine. And then we had like Lil White came in. Oz is really fucking good. He came from like Counter-Strike Pro-Am. We had Sneaky in the beginning. You might know Sneaky from DC.
Yeah, I think he's in Gorilla's Tank or something like that, I believe.
Yeah. So he's like, I consider him one of the best players of the game. Like we had a really good core group that we were building off of.
Right, and then there was alliances too, right? I'm pretty sure. Like, I think you were in an alliance with a Spree at one point, weren't you?
Yeah. So we originally were like a small squad inside of MPA, which was a learning experience. And then once we broke off of that, we joined a Spree for the alliance. And we never made it to seasonal with them, but like we definitely learned a lot, so it's good.
Right. Could you kind of describe, I guess, like the meta of the comps back then? Because I know 7-man squads and everything came in a bit later, but what was it like back then?
Well, I think so. Like, I think good teams already knew 7-man squads, and like, but what was cool about it? It was like it was new. So what was cool about the comp meta when I started? Hold on, let me try. So what was cool about the comp meta? Like, we were like the front line thing was like just getting like leeway. Like 7-man squads, front line, and also map control was really big at the time, which it's always been big, but like it was really, that was when like it was happening.
Right.
So that's when like teams were figuring out that it's not just about like, pushing a B line directly point to point. And then you had teams like Core just mopping the floor with us because they were surrounding us with MGs and shit like that, especially before. So I remember being kind of like blown away by that and just like, wow, that's fucking crazy. Like we can't even move.
Yeah. I came in a lot later, so a lot of that had already been figured out. I started playing in August of 2022, and there was like definitely a steep learning curve when I finally got into the comp scene.
Yeah, so a lot of the same fundamentals, a lot of the same fundamentals that you know now were being figured out, but the good teams were executing them just so much better than everybody else.
Right.
And the big thing was, like, at the time, teams just didn't know how to do basic things like an opener, a Gary network, a lot of things that just made it really, really hard to perform.
Right, like a more primitive kind of style or setup.
Yeah, so like even just like now there's a lot of good teams that just know basics, so you can't just win on, like, pressing W. People have their Gary network set up. People know their openers. You actually fight for midpoint.
Yeah.
But like at the time, like when I started 4 years ago, like even like top 8 teams, there was teams that didn't know how to do that well.
Interestingly enough, I guess in like the lower levels, it's kind of weird how the knowledge trickles down. So there's like a lot more lower level teams that are starting to pick up on that, but they're still just like building wide Garys and just doing full flanks and not really worrying about front lines. So it's really weird
Right.
how it takes so long for that to work its way down.
Yeah, but like it's a slow progression. I would be really interested to see how the game progressed in like 10 years, so to speak, because everybody would have all those basics down that took so long to master because the game is so in depth, right? 50 players. But like I would love to see like the micro plays really get advanced, but it's such a in-depth game.
Right.
But you like see, so like a good example is like Chimera. Chimera came out of nowhere and just had all the fundamentals like really nailed because they were watching, the VODs and just realizing they needed to pick that up quickly.
Yeah. So going back 2 or 3 years ago, do you think the meta is in a better place, like as far as the comp scene goes, than it was before? Because I know there was definitely like the triple RD and other stuff like that.
Yeah, so I was a big fan of the reason why I liked Triple RD so much is because I worked so hard to defend it. But I know for a fact that single RD is so much better for comp.
Right.
Yeah, and I was actually I was one of the first people to bring up just get rid of the Panther if it's gonna have an advantage, and people were like laughing at me, and I was like, "You're crazy. There's no reason to have a tank that shoots 2 seconds earlier." And it actually got incorporated, and I was like really happy to see that. But yeah, the comp scene now, I would say like maybe a season or 2 ago was probably its peak, but it's still in a lot better shape than when I was playing, like in the early days.
Right. So kind of tell me about Gary's OnlyFans. Like, I guess the story of Gary's OnlyFans, because like I said, I came in late, so it's always cool to look back at the history, especially with teams that I really didn't, I guess associate with too much, being where I'm from and whatnot.
Yeah, Gary's OnlyFans is a huge like meme on Legend, dude. It's what was cool about Gary's OnlyFans is that it was homegrown. Like I literally built that team from pubs, and I had to grow and grow and grow from just playing with players, getting to know them, building rapport, and like picking people up off the streets, so to speak. There was no like big exodus from a team. There was no big merge, nothing like that. So what I was most proud of is making a team that was so homegrown and turning it into a top 8 team over a few years.
Right.
And it was, dude, when we were at our peak, like we were really fucking good, man. Like we were really becoming something just from like we had to work a lot harder. Oh, I died.
Yeah, that mouse rat
feel
guy
like-
is fucking crazy.
Yeah, shitting on us. But I had to we had to do like trainings, like we would train like 10 on 10s with like pack guns versus armor. We would train just opener drills. We would train 2 grids for like squad play for binding, right? We would do all that shit. And it really, really showed. Like we weren't number 1, but I think we like the winter seasonal of 2022, we really turned a lot of heads.
So whenever I first came in, I'm not sure if, or it's not really when I first came in. It was like a few months after I started playing the game. there was an 18v18 tournament, and I think Goth Void was a alliance at that point. I'm not sure on that. Because there was like a huge troll that happened in one of the practice matches, and I know Void was part of it, but do you know anything about that? Where the I guess they came in and just 5-0'd or something something crazy like that.
Yeah, that was me. I was drunk as fuck.
Oh, okay, so that was you. Could you tell me about how that transpired? Because I thought that was so funny.
Sure. Is this interview a troll? Did you just lead up to that? Is that what's happening?
No. It's not a troll. It's not a troll. I do like to hear. I like to hear about the beef and everything too. I love hearing the beef and why stuff like that happens.
So like a lot of my HLL career was, a lot of people don't know this, but I mean, a lot of people do actually know it, but I was at a really pretty fucked up time in my life, man. Like I was heavy alcoholic, and HLL wasn't the reason for it. HLL was like the escape with it. So I have a much better relationship with the game now, but I took it like ridiculously seriously because it was all I had, because I'd kind of given up on like my job, my friends, and so everything that happened in HLL was exemplified. Like, I took it so serious. And when Sneaky left for DC, it really pissed me off. And like now I would never act so ridiculous. But at the time when I was drinking and taking the game really serious, it sucked. The best NA player there was. So I got really upset, and I showed up to the ATBA team just hammered. It was on a Saturday, I think. And I don't know why, dude. It was like autopilot. I just started running towards the goals. Just 5-0. And by the end of it, I was like, what the fuck did I just do?
Yeah, I remember I joined the server just so I could see, or I joined one of the servers. I don't remember if it was Void or Goth, but I joined one of the servers just to see the match history, and it said like 5-0 easy win on the 18.
Yeah, and unrelated, I actually checked myself in the hospital the next day from that. It wasn't because of that, but like that's the point I was at when I was doing shit like that. Like I was pretty bad, man.
Right.
Yeah. So that was actually when I ended up sobering up for like 6 months straight, and I actually rebuilt a lot of the relationships that were kind of tampered because of that shit, man. I don't know what was going on.
Right.
But dude, the HLL community, like, all said and done, has been super supportive, and I have like so much love for like so many people that I used to beef with, and a lot of the people kind of know that the beef is just kind of like there's an underlying understanding that it's just to keep it interesting, and overall, man, it's a pretty dope community.
Right. Yeah, I'd have to agree with that. There is like some people that are, I don't know what you'd call them. I guess less than desirable, but for the most part, there's a lot of really good people.
Yeah, and like I've noticed, like I've gotten so much love in the last year from people that, used to clown and meme on me like constantly, which was well deserved. And I laugh at those memes and I laugh at those memories, and I think it's a fun part of my HLL arch.
Yeah.
But it's really cool to see that I've become friends with so many guys that were like, dude, you're an idiot, and I was. But yeah, it's been pretty cool, man.
So what? I guess this might be a bit of a touchy subject. I'm not sure, but so
Go for it.
now that Gary's OnlyFans, whenever that I guess moved into Syndicate and you left and went to Greyhounds, how did all that go down? Like, what caused all that?
So I was doing pretty well, like, so I wasn't drinking, and I wasn't like I can't fall back on that. I was doing pretty well with like my anger and my temperament. But what I really hated at any time, and the golf guys knew this, was like I don't like excuses, and I don't like people being babies, and it doesn't excuse how I acted, but I feel like after the FOC game where everybody was just like, oh, Chinese cheaters, and for some reason that fell on me, but I never really used that as a crutch. Like, I thought we could have won the Hurt game against Fok, which was like spring seasonal 2023.
Right.
And I essentially I lost my shit. Again, I was sober, like it was definitely unnecessary, but I was just so disappointed on how everybody was acting with like with the loss that I kind of just went off, and it rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. So basically what happened was a few guys, I think like less than 10, but there was a few dudes that were going to leave because of how I was acting, and they just decided, and I actually condoned this prior to this happening. It's like, I'd rather you guys stay together than there to be like an exodus, right?
Yeah.
And so it became Syndicate, and they stole my baby. But no, it was funny because like there was never any hate. And to be honest, I felt so relieved when it happened, which sounds bad. It's not because of them, but just for my own sake, right?
Yeah. No, I totally feel that. I mean, from the Senate and whatnot, I've actually taken a step back from doing anything like responsibility-wise, and it's definitely made the game a lot more enjoyable and a lot less stressful.
Yeah, and I was never gonna give up on golf. Like I never ever would quit on them, as frustrated as I ever got. And I'm not saying that to diss them. I'm just saying like I just wouldn't have. That's just not. I can't, right? So when they did that, it was a huge blessing in disguise, and I got to join Greyhounds, and literally playing with Greyhounds has been the most enjoyable experience of HLL I've ever had. Like, I really get to play the game with guys that, and not saying Syndicate don't like play well, but it's like I was kind of joining guys that already knew like the fundamentals really well. They had the strategies, and I definitely incorporated a lot of strategies that they followed and they liked and enjoyed and respected me for. But it was way less stressful, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So, what I guess leaned you towards going to Greyhounds?
So I still love the underdog, and Greyhounds has always been the underdog. But I was always impressed with Greyhounds, no matter how much they lost. They never stopped playing with just absolute concrete fundamentals, and they're so fucking disciplined. And I think where Greyhounds have fallen short in the past was, for lack of a better term, like skill diff. I think maybe being outshooted, or like our tanks are really, really good now, but like, at the time when they were losing more, like it was just having guys that just had better FPS experience, right? But they never didn't have just these crazy good fundamentals, and I respected it so much. There was no other team I wanted to play for.
Right.
I was pretty dead set on quitting if they didn't accept me, so I'm really glad they did. And
Yeah.
I've always loved the German language, dude. And I always wanted to learn. I'm still stuck at it. It's actually the hardest thing.
Yeah, in my experience playing against them, I will say that I'd agree that they are very well structured, and that's probably their, or at least from, I guess, my point of view, that's their biggest, I don't know what you'd call it, asset, I guess, is how well structured they are and well disciplined.
Yeah, we could go, honestly, like we did a lot of cool strats that worked out really well, and it's always helps to do the strats, but this team can go into a game without a single strat and know what to do, and it's really, really, really cool to have that.
Right.
Yeah, like we could just go in and draw 3 lines and be, and the level of discipline and following the strats, especially when it's like seasonal time, is like really refreshing.
How does the like mid-game decision making and everything feel? Because the opener's good for like the first 5 to 10 minutes, and you cap the point. What about like moving on from that? How is their mid-game decision making compared to Gary's OnlyFans or any other team you played for?
So the real fun thing about Gary OnlyFans was that I was the IGL shot caller. So like when watching those calls being followed and it being effective was really cool, good for my ego. But with the Greyhounds, it's kind of just like an inherent knowledge and fundamentals in the game, and like there's not, it's surprisingly not as much communication as you would think. Like it's just kind of like inherent game knowledge. So
Right.
we know what gaps to fill, and we know what to start like loading up, so to speak, so that we can just push out a sector or an area. And you'll just kind of see that progress naturally. And Greyhounds are really good about the W key, like usually at our best we are. So that W key just pounds and pounds and pounds in.
Oh yeah, it's always a grind whenever our two teams play against each other. That's for sure.
Yeah, I just got knifed. Lovely. So yeah, and that was actually the thing I always like talking about ESPT, because I've always had so much respect for ESPT, even when like I didn't want to admit it. But like ESPT, I always said that once they find the W key, they were going to be so fucking good, and they did. And I was really proud of them, because for some reason ESPT played so scared for so long, and I was like, dude, they're so good. I don't know why they don't press W, but I remember on Utah we played a really high-level friendly, and we won because of that. And I remember after that, I saw ESPT really start to utilize the W key, and I was like, fuck, here we go.
Right. Yeah, the first match I played against Greyhounds was actually a Carentan game, and it was when I like had first joined ESPT, or close to when I first joined. And that was probably my first like comp game against like a top 4 team. You know what I mean? So
Right.
I mean real comp game. I had one when I was in Otters against ESPT, and that was like a 40-minute match, so I don't really count that, and I was commanding.
Right.
So I was going in, and I was really, really nervous because I just watched the DC and Greyhound seasonal on Utah, and I was like, this is like, this is the top of the game. So
Yeah. And ESPT is actually, it's funny, they're like a kryptonite for Greyhounds. Like I don't think we beat ESPT in like ever, in a very long time.
yeah, I think the record right now is like 8-3 or something like that. Which
Yeah.
it's crazy how that works, right? Like I think Greyhounds usually
matchups.
it beats WTH, and then we've never beat WTH. So it's
Yeah. No, that's actually one of my favorite things about the meta right now. So that's like that, like, UFC, like that triangle thing, right? Like where one guy can beat the other guy, but not, the third guy can beat the second guy. And it's just like that matchup thing. And that's exactly what you want to see in a meta, dude. Like that's a really good sign. So, it's a shame that, maybe the game won't really see its full potential competitively, because that's exactly what you want to see.
what is your least favorite team to play against?
Funny enough, probably ESPT. Just the shooters, and like ESPT is really good at like camping and then not camping. So
Right.
they push W now, but like it's just hard to move. And yeah, it feels like you're swallowed a lot. So I would say probably ESPT is my least favorite player right now. I cannot fucking crack 50 kills against you guys.
I think for me it's probably just WTH, but that's because of ESPT PTSD, I guess, because we've never been able to beat them. I mean, even
that mental block, right?
Yeah, even if like I'll do decent against him, right? But the only times I've played against him, I've been like squad leading, which now I've kind of stepped back from that and only been playing infantry as much, and I've been really enjoying it. So I'd like to play against him as infantry, but I love playing against XD. That's always been fun. That like group.
Yeah, we played him on Utah. It was a fucking nightmare. But when we played him on Saint-Marie Dumont, we lost 2-3, but it was a lot better.
Right. Yeah, I would say they're probably the best team in the game on Utah. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, I would not match that up on a seasonal game for sure.
What do you think is the strongest map for Greyhounds?
Dude, honestly, man, nobody fucks with us on SME. It's kind of crazy. We only lost a scrim to 82 AD, but that was nothing against 82 AD, but it was a scrim. It was rough roster. But seasonal time, dude, nobody fucks with us on that map, dude.
Yeah, I think that 82 AD game is the only one that I've, or at least that I paid attention to, I guess, that I saw that was on SME.
Yeah, and that was pretty crazy to lose that, but I think we were, I mean, no excuses, but it was a friendly, and I think seasonal Greyhounds and SME is a pretty, we really just got that one down.
Right. And to be fair to 82 AD, they've gotten a lot better, it seems like, in like the last 6 or 7 months.
I fucking love that team, dude. I love watching 82 be so fucking resilient and like just continue to grow and not disband. Like I hope that they just keep going. They got a lot of good strategists too, man. They really do have some big brains on that team, and now that they're getting some shooters, like once they, I think, solidify their tanks, they're gonna be pretty fucking good.
Right. Yeah. It was like 82 AD. Since most of the time I've been in the comp, I had like a viewpoint of them where, like, you step into the 49v49 and they, they weren't like a crazy top tier team, but then you step into teams with them, they were top 3. So it's really nice to kind of see that progression they've made in the bigger mode or in the bigger format.
Yeah, I love watching their story. I'm a big fan of 82 AD, and I just hope they keep doing. I hope they stay resilient, because that's my favorite thing to watch is resiliency. Any teams that stick together and don't have a bunch of people bail, like that's the shit I like to see, man.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that's I'm a little biased. One thing I love about Esprit is that it hasn't really had anything. I mean, obviously there was the HLL TC split off and whatnot, and I know that caused like a lot of rift, I guess you'd say, towards ESPT, but.
Dude, mad respect for ESPT, because like they really did, like they seemed like the least likely to stay together and be the last one standing for like at least NA, and they fucking did it, dude. And I'm like, what that's amazing, because there was always the drama and always like the DMs and like, it was just like, that thing was gonna pop, and it never did, dude. And I'm like, fucking good for them, good for you guys.
Yeah, I think a lot of that honestly has to do with Incheon. So I know, like, from the outside, ESPT is very, I guess, has like a toxic aura around it. Maybe not from the players themselves. I know there's a few players that we have that like talk trash and kind of outwards troll. But for the most part, a lot of our players are very reclusive, and on the internal side, it's very peaceful. And
Yeah, and that shows. And like, you guys definitely don't have that anymore. I think the drama's really cooled down a lot, and it's actually, I think it's good now, because I think it had its time, and now a lot of teams are just kind of chilling.
Yeah, we still get occasional flack. I mean, some of it's definitely warranted. I won't be naive and deny that. Like this past match, I don't know if you've been seeing the memes from the match against TL, but it was. What happened? We killed the Artie player 4 times. And the first one, we were strafing an airhead on the north, so the strafe hit the Artie player, and then our tanks were splashing around the Artie because there was infantry around it, which probably should have just held the trigger on it, not pulled on that, but it happened 4 times in a row, which is just insane. And the clips of it, they look very, very incriminating. So they flipped it to a reverse 5-0 that they 5-0'd us, which I agree with the ruling. There were, there's players that say that maybe that's too hardcore and whatnot, but it did look pretty blatant.
Yeah.
So that's been the new one. It is funny being in a spree and just constantly having something going on.
Yeah, I mean, I give you all the benefit of the doubt. I hope there's no foul play. I know there's a lot of. Oh, hold on, it's fucking MG. I know that the work and the fundamentals have been done, so I don't look at the cheesy stuff anymore.
So is there anything that you'd like to say to the Hell Loose community, or any topics you'd like to bring up?
Is this like final word?
I mean, it can be, or you can just bring random stuff up, because I haven't been around a lot, so if there's, I guess, pieces in the HL history that you'd like to share with anyone, or this is kind of like for like an archive, I guess you'd say, because I was in a game for this called Dust 514 like a long time ago, and it was kind of nice having, I guess, the history kind of recorded, so you could kind of look back on it, years and years down the road.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think it's been a lot of fun. I think everybody knows that, we may be on the tail end, but, we should keep it alive as long as possible and just have fun with it. It's drama free right now. A lot of the relationships have been mended. I have so much love for everybody in this goddamn community, like the people that really chastise me for good reason, and then to come around and just have those friendships with them now, it just speaks a lot to the character, like the actual character of people, not just like the fun drama, Like, there's a lot of fucking good dudes in this community, man. I'm really thankful.
Right. Yeah. I totally agree with that.
Yeah, I'm transitioning to my real life now. I've got the job of my dreams, and I have just a very good relationship with Hell Loose right now. So, just kind of playing on weekends and just enjoying it.
Are you?
But if
Oh wait, sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say if you're hearing this, High Speed Hilly, anybody left over that I haven't made amends with, I'm telling you right now, I have nothing but love for you. I hope it's all water under the bridge. I'm just thankful, and I have just nothing but love for all the players in this fucking game right now. I know I'm being a little cheesy, but I really mean that.
Oh, it's always good to see positivity kind of take over, I guess, and because it just makes the community itself better, you know, when everyone's kind of moving in that direction. So, if you don't mind me asking, what happened with Billy? Playing with him and whatnot. I have seen him, and his clan tags will say F Muck in it, and I've always wondered why, but I never bothered asking him.
Well, again, Bruce was involved. I yelled at him for not pressing W, and like ever since, it just, it was just that. But like I had nothing but love for him. It was such a small thing, but I really pissed him off, I guess, and I used him as an example, not to clown him, but to say like, dude, I want that shit to be over, man.
Right.
I really do. Like, it's just, in my opinion, no need for it anymore. And like, this could be an official apology for anybody pissed off, because again, I'm just in full love mode right now. We're losing. Fuck.
Yeah, I know. I just blew up one of their frontline Garys, but I think it's too late.
About to start Evelyn. We're defending.
I guess a couple of game questions I could ask real quick too. Trying to hit as many spots as I can. What was your favorite update in Hello Lose?
7. 7 is my most. So 7 was I think when they got the trucks in there. I could be wrong though, but I just remember 7 being very impactful to the game and competitive. I think a lot of people will hear 7 and be like, yeah, 7 was good. I'm trying to think of the specifics. Yeah, 7 was just
It was
just a big one. It's hard to interview and fight, but this is kind of fun. It's like hot ones. You're trying to like.
Yeah. I always had I'd always wanted to just randomly interview people just for archiving things. So like, there's obviously like a list of people that I'd like to interview. Inchan, Havald, you, and probably Jim and some other guys. But I mean, I haven't reached out to anybody. And then I saw you in here, and I was like, you know what? Let me ask him. See what he's.
It's all downhill from here, bro. Just kidding. So there's this dude standing on this fucking. Oh my god.
All right. Well,
yeah, dude, this was cool, man. I enjoyed this. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll shoot you a link and everything to it, and
please do. Yeah.
I don't know when it'll be. It'll probably be up. I'm not gonna cut it at all. I'm just gonna show the gameplay and everything. Just let it be raw.
Send it, dude.
But all right. Thank you for letting me interview there, Mucksnapper. I appreciate it, man.
For sure, man.